Google search algorithm is still burying its competitors right now, and the Department of Justice can't stop it. That is not a theory. A federal judge already ruled it an illegal monopoly. The ruling changed nothing. The rankings are the same, and in 20 minutes you will see exactly which internal system makes that possible. Search is the most powerful information gatekeeping mechanism ever built. 10 blue links. That is what Google wants you to think it is. A neutral index, a library, an objective map of the web. That framing has been Google's legal shield for 20 years. The algorithm, internally called the core ranking system, officially exists to surface the most relevant, most authoritative page for any given query. In 2000, that was mostly true. The system was called PageRank. It counted links between sites as votes. Simple, elegant, defensible. Then, somewhere around 2007, Google started building something on top of it. Something that doesn't appear in any patent. Something that federal regulators spent years trying to name. In 2012, the Federal Trade Commission opened a full antitrust investigation into Google's search practices. They had internal documents. They had engineers who'd left. They had a 160-page staff report that concluded in plain language that Google was deliberately demoting rival price comparison sites, rival travel sites, rival local review platforms. Yelp, Expedia, TripAdvisor. The report said Google was using its monopoly position to disadvantage competitors and advantage its own products. Google Shopping, Google Flights, Google Maps, the staff recommended action. Then something happened that almost no one reported. The commissioners voted to close the investigation. No charges, no fine, no consent decree. The 160-page report was sealed. It only became public years later through a FOIA request. What changed between the staff recommendation and the vote? Google had met with White House officials 17 times in the months before the decision. The commissioners made their call. The algorithm kept running. The European Commission moved next. In 2017, they issued a €2.7 billion fine, the largest antitrust penalty in EU history at the time, specifically for favoring Google shopping results over rivals. Google paid it. Then Google kept doing it. The EU issued a remedies order. Google created a bidding system competitors could use to appear next to Google's own shopping unit. Then Google set the auction pricing so that competing cost more than the visibility was worth. Regulators called it a fix. Academics modeled it and called it theater. Google's shopping unit maintained its dominant placement. The fine was a rounding error on a single quarter's revenue. The mechanism stayed, and it was still running. Here is the part nobody fully reported from the 2023 antitrust trial. Google engineers, under oath, described a system called NavBoost. NavBoost takes click data, your clicks, specifically, and feeds them back into the ranking algorithm as a quality signal. The more a result gets clicked, the higher it ranks. That sounds fair. It is not, because Google controls the layout of the search page. Google decides which result appears in position 1 before NavBoost ever runs. Position 1 gets clicked more than position 2 by a statistically predictable margin, regardless of content quality. So the result Google chose to place first gets click data that validates it staying first. The algorithm launders the original bias into a data-driven outcome. It looks scientific. It survives audit. And here is the legal loophole that makes it untouchable. Google classifies every ranking decision as editorial judgment. The same protection a newspaper uses to choose its front page. Courts have repeatedly held that editorial discretion is protected expression. The DOJ cannot compel Google to change an editorial decision. The remedy the judge is currently weighing involves forcing Google to license data to competitors, not change the algorithm, not expose the weighting, not touch NavBoost. License data to competitors who will then try to build a ranking system that Google can outspend by a factor of 50. The algorithm is structurally immune to the remedy being proposed. What this means for you is specific. When you search for a doctor, a legal answer, a financial product, a news story, you are not seeing the web's best result. You are seeing the result Google's algorithm has chosen to surface, shaped by click signals Google controls. weighted by factors Google has never published, running on infrastructure that processes your query through undisclosed personalization layers before a result is ever shown. Google calls this relevance. The 2023 trial documents call it something closer to a feedback loop that cannot be externally audited. You have no way to see the counterfactual. You cannot see what would have ranked first if NavBoost had started from a neutral position. You are searching for truth on a system that has already decided what truth looks like, and you will do it again tomorrow. The DOJ verdict stands. The remedy hearings continue. Google has already signaled it will appeal any structural order for years. Meanwhile, the algorithm runs. NavBoost runs. The click loop runs. So here is the question no one in that courtroom has answered. If the system is now legally proven to be a monopoly instrument and the proposed remedy doesn't touch the mechanism that makes it work, who exactly is this process for?